and talking about empathy in today, and I really feel like somebody needs to hear this. Maybe I just need to hear this. Um, Today is a very thick day, and I'll tell you, like, to those who do the hard work and you try to be very spiritually attuned, and you're eating right, and you have mentally you're doing the work. You know you're doing the work, and when you still wake up and you feel this way, this is the clue that there is a big shift happening right now. Because for so many years, I thought all this anxiety that we collectively feel as a human race, I thought it was just mine. And there's some people here, like, you're struggling today, and it's not. I'm letting you know it's not you. It is, maybe a little bit you, but you're probably feeling a lot of other people's stuff. You're probably feeling a lot of people's pain. You're probably feeling a lot of people's, their emotional stuff from coming out of 2025. And this is when the shift really matters. January 5th, when kids go back to school. It's the Monday afterwards. And I did a talk not too long ago, and it really has just hit me today. This is the day where, you have to think like an octopus. This is the day where, we start to think all those things that you've learned, all those, those tools that you've used. Hopefully you've been listening about, eating a lot of fruits. I'm gonna be doing a talk tomorrow on diet. I'm gonna be talking about the body, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be a very unique talk, because I've never really disclosed my, what I do with my diet, how I eat, why I do what I do. I learned it completely on my own, and I'll tell you, it's completely different than anyone. I've had a lot of people tell me what I do is wrong. I've had a lot of people tell me that I should be sick, that I should be losing a ton, I should be just like skin and bones. And, I'm going to let you know that the way we feed this body really determines a lot how you feel right now. If you're prepared, if you're doing the work with your diet, it's probably helping you absorb some of this anxiety right now better than you could on your own if you were just doing if you were left to your own diet. So tomorrow I recommend getting on and listening, because you're not going to hear so much about this food and that food. You're going to hear tomorrow a lot about, why I eat the way I do and what happened and how it all shifted, because honestly, it's ancient. It's ancient. And this is what I want people to understand, is like, we are more ancient beings than we think we are. We don't need a million people telling us how to think, how to feel. We don't need a whole bunch of people to be our mentors and counselors. Now, it's good to have each other, but really, we all learn from each other. We're all mentors to each other. We're all kind of collectively, even my family, I have little kids, and I learn from my kids. They're kind of mentors to me. This whole idea that we need to hire people and do all that. I know I might be shooting myself in the foot a little bit with this, but the whole idea that we should go out there and hire people to do things that our soul knows how to do. My whole goal is to help you believe who you already are. To understand, like, man, collectively we can help each other. There's things that we are all good at, that you're good at, that I'm not. And there's things that I'm good at that you're not. And when we can connect to this web that we have in this earth, this magnetic web, and that goes through our hearts, then we all rise together, or we all raise together in this frequency. And so I want you to think today about the octopus, because if you haven't heard me talk about the octopus, it's one of the most amazing animals. And my wife thinks it's an alien, and it could be, because we all kind of are. But if you know an octopus, it's colorblind. Now, you just think about this. I watched this documentary on it, and the octopus, what it will do is that it will float and it will land. And it'll get up and it'll float and it'll land. And it'll get up and float, and if there's dangers coming, it'll float and it'll land. And when it lands, it turns the color and the shape of what it lands on. Now, that's crazy. Why it's crazy is because the octopus is actually colorblind. It's colorblind. So when the octopus is landing, when danger is coming, it's landing. It isn't even consciously understanding how its whole own body is taking care of itself. And that's the key to all this. I want you to understand, if you do the disciplines, if you understand how to deal with the heart, to deal with trauma, and you do it through your diet, you do it how you view our earth. Our earth is a very living being. You do it how you view each other, your family, our earth. You know, how we view this planet really helps us see how we determine ourselves. Because if we disregard our planet, then we disregard ourselves. The same thing, if we disregard ourselves, we're kind of disregarding our planet. It all kind of ties in together. And I want you to understand, like, you're like this octopus, man. If you're doing the hard work, if you're really eating right, like if you're eating really, really bad, I'm not like, there's no law on this. There is no judgment, but you got to understand, like, if you're eating really heavy foods right now, 2026, January 5, if you're drinking a lot of alcohol and, you know, drinking a lot of sodas, and, you know, tomorrow, again, I'm going to get into this diet talk. If you're eating really, really bad, heavy foods, that vibration is going to mess with you, guaranteed, 100%. It's going to make you harder. Now, I'm not going to tell you to be, I don't believe in titles. I really don't have a diet. I don't have a diet title that I have. Some people call me a vegetarian. Some call me a vegan. Some call me a fruitarian. I really don't have a diet, but I'm going to suggest something. Meats have a lot of mucus in it. And mucus is really hard. This is a little sneak peek into what I'm going to be talking tomorrow on my diet talk. Mucus really is a blocker for electricity. You are an electrical being. 100%. You are an electrical being. Science has not caught up with this yet. In fact, maybe science knows it, but they're not really telling us. So some of us are remembering, because like this last year, some of us literally woke up and we remembered, oh crap, I'm an electrical being. I'm not supposed to be eating. And I didn't really understand why I wasn't supposed to be eating this or drinking this or doing that. But when I started to eat a lot of fruits, I started to investigate why I all of a sudden stopped wanting to eat. It started with pork. I stopped wanting to eat pork. I didn't realize that pork was loaded with parasites. I had no idea. And these parasites you literally can't cook out. And they make you angry and mad. I tell people, like, if they give me a hard time about, you know, meat and pork, and I'm like, do you want me to be in a bad mood? Like, because that's really, you know, that's kind of what it does to me. Now, it might not do that to you, but I started to identify, like, you know, like, yeah, alcohol does something to me where it turns off my GABA, and it makes my self-control completely gone. I didn't know any of this stuff. So when my soul was telling me to eat pistachios and telling me to eat fruits, I was just listening to that stuff. And I want to help you, because the more we can prepare like this octopus, the octopus doesn't question when it goes down if it's going to be protected. It trusts itself. The octopus has many, many brains. It actually has 9 brains. You have 2. You have 2. We don't realize this. You have 2 brains. Write this down. Remember this forever. You have 2 brains. You have your intellectual brain and you have your heart brain. The heart brain is an actual, it's been scientifically proven. You have this brain inside your heart, and it actually sends more signals up to your brain than your brain sends down to it. This part right here, they've been able to, it's called your intuition for a reason, because it's all tracked by, you know, electricity. And what they say is that, you know, when you have a thought, that thought will go to your heart, and the answer for that problem will actually come faster to your heart before the problem actually even arrives. It's called intuition. And your heart actually tracks this faster than your brain. You have a brain. Same thing as this octopus. You have to, in 2026, there's shifts coming right now. You know, we've been having a lot of times, the kids have been in school. Maybe you've been having a lot of fun with food. Maybe you've been having a lot of, you know, been able to sleep in a little bit because the kids have been out of school. And maybe you had some time to work off and you had a great holiday, and I'm so happy for you. But this is the time where it's just that grind. You know what I'm saying? This is where it's like all of a sudden, it's just like in Michigan, it's just like all of a sudden we're stuck with snow for like 3 or 4 more months. You know, there's not, when I look up into the sky in Michigan, 8 out of 10 times there's no sun in the sky. That's really hard for some people, man. Mental health with the, you know, the vitamins that come from that, and especially if you're natured with wired with nature, that can be really hard. You got to be doing the hard work. The part of that is, are you growing mentally? What are you putting in your brain? Are you putting in a lot of, you know, are you putting in a lot of negativity? Are you listening to a lot of negativity? Are you being negative? Because great gratitude is the highest vibration. If you want to feel better, remember, this might not even be your emotions. You might just be carrying a lot of people's emotions. And the way you treat yourself is going to be make a big difference in how you're going to get through these next few weeks. So eat fruit, hydrate, stay grateful, you know, get on these calls. We can do this together. You know, if you're in one of these groups, if you're not part of Rhythmetic, get in Rhythmetics. You know, what we do is we just find a rhythm together, you know, and we do life together in a way. You know, there's no judgment. Some people are this diet or that diet. Some people are ex-alcoholics. Some people are on meth. Some people are, you know, we accept people right where they're at. But at the same time, we know that we're growing together, and together we're better. It doesn't matter what our backgrounds, together we are better. So stay in there, eat fruits.